And away we go. We have on the bottom left, playing as Infernals, it is Highdra. Starting out with a Conclave, and on the other side, right opposite of him, we have Mixu playing as Vanguard. So, what could we see here? A lot of things. This is, very interestingly, one of those matches where a lot of your mirror ideas that you might have, things like Doombringers, suddenly start to lose out a little bit of action when it comes to just doing gun drops because of the flag turrets. So you have to think a little bit outside the box. Maybe you might think, oh, you can still go out and creep into your opponent's bases, but the reality of it is that scout openings are a thing. You could end up losing 2 scouts, which wouldn't be particularly nice. So we're gonna see what Mixu decides to do, and in turn, what our Infernal player Highdra do. Of course, yesterday, the two already met in combat as they faced each other in round number 1. So we'll have to see if there is a change here. It was a 2-1 series. Potentially could have been Mixu going through over Highdra, but now we're here. We're in the losers finals, a best of 5 series. We'll have to see what happens. Expansion going down for both players. So far, no massive early aggression, no attempt at just annoying the hell out of your opponent enough that they GG out within the first few minutes. Instead, they'll both go ahead and expand, start producing with their builders. Interestingly enough, it's very surprising just how little in terms of defenses Mixu has. Naked 2 expansions, then going into 2 barracks. Obviously, the above overcharge helps a lot here, as it increases the speed at which your buildings are built. And we'll have to see what comes out of here. Probably either 2 Lancers or 2 Dogs, but we'll have to see in a moment. He'll also want to drop a Habitat at some point, and for another Biokinetic Snap. So it might just be a Scouts opening, from what we're gathering here. This cut through could be lethal if Highdra doesn't protect against a run through from Scouts. Getting into the main base would be very scary. But now Highdra out on the map, creeping and getting some extra resources this way. For his part, getting a couple of Lancers out now. So it might just be a kinetic redirection push here with the Lancers to try and get and maximize his advantage as much as possible here. No turrets in either base, which means that the Fiends are going to be more or less free to go wherever they want. 2 Lancers are at the ready. And now overmining, oversaturating the bases here. It might be time to pick up a 3rd for the side of Mixu. We'll see what he chooses as things progress here. Pulling the Bobs to get the kill on the Fiends, and pulling another Bob here to grab the path to the 3rd. The Fiends end up being killed quite nicely. Highdra is now pulling back into his base, getting a Shroud Stone up. He fears that there might be a push coming from all of those Lancers, so he'll need something to protect himself with. As a 3rd goes up, just in time with the Shroud Stone to keep it nice and safe. And now it is Mixu with control over the map. And for the heal camp here, it's really good when you have Lancers in particular. The Lancers will heal quite quickly, and then you'll also be able to harass your opponent with said Lancers. But a Doombringer drop now coming through. into the expansion. There he goes, with the guns, with the brutes. It won't do much, it'll disrupt the Luminite. But other than that, not a lot of damage to be dealt here. We'll continue on the low ground a little bit, infesting some of the mobs, but unfortunately, that won't be enough to fully kill them. It does, however, cause quite a stir, and it's now the time for the Lancers to push forward here. They will get one Shroudstone Tower, and they'll try to fish for another, but there is also a Shroudstone manifestation potentially at play here, as they try to make their way in, and one of the Lancers is very low. It will die, while the gun drops and brute drops continue over on this side. And now the Doombringer is going to come back directly into the base and attempt to attack the Lancers, but Lancers are just going to get out, thanks to the kinetic redirection ability, which allows them to have a little bit of a speed time that they can stack up if they take damage. So both players on 3 bases now, and they'll be looking to macro up those units quite a bit. There is another threat of Doombringer drops though, so Mixu can't feel quite safe just yet. He does have a number of Lancers that could cause problems to Hydra's base if left alone. And another little army that is now gearing up to attack. So we saw this against Probe just a few minutes ago when they were playing their Game 2 matchup. Their Game 1 matchup, I mean. In which they were going back and forth between 2 different attack vectors. But the Lancers, thanks to the amount of health that they have and their ability to reposition themselves, more than capable of taking out enemy units and being annoying, having to micro back and forth against them while they sit pretty and not have too many issues. 100 seconds left here on the health camp. This will probably be the last chance that Mixu is able to use this heal camp before he has to retake it. And another Doombringer drop coming, but it will miss the reinforcement that are going to Hydra's main base and main expansion over here. So Highdra is going for another expansion still. And now an attack on the main base with imps. So this will be a flamed imp attack. Oh, multiple kills on the bombs on the main base. That'll sting for our good friend Mixu, who is still on 3 bases against Highdra, who wants to go up on 4th, but might find it difficult here. The Lancers over on this area are doing great work, denying the expansion, being annoying. Oh, Weaver Pool, 20% of your health is gone with that one, and every single hit after that is another 10%, which means that if you stay in this fight for too long, you might be looking at a number of dead Lancers. You don't want to lose a single one. There are still 30 seconds left on the heal camp. No cancel on the expansion results in an imp dead and losing resources. Not what you want to see happen. If you're Highdra, now the Flaming Imps, they clean shop here against Mixu, but at a great cost to try and keep this going. Mixu will lose a couple of exos here to the surrounds from the Fiends, but he's otherwise trying to maintain a good aggression. The Weavers are really good. They get 20% on that attack and then 10% each on those little hits. But now, look at this. Highdra grabbing the northmost base to get even more resources. He was denied the 4th. On the low ground, he's just gonna go and take the other one at the other side of the map. So the question then is, what will Mixu do about this? He is gonna start being 1 base behind his opponent. He'll definitely need to bring something into the table, and a Sentinel is an interesting idea. It increases the speed of all his units naturally. That is its passive ability. The Hexbot, the Hexbot Dispersal Aura, and it does have an ability that can be researched, which is the Photonic Tracker. I believe both might need to be researched actually, but getting a little bit more speed in the Sentinel moving forward is a good thing. It does have an attack himself too. Just a little bit of damage and another imp drop that results in the death of a couple of mobs, I believe. The Repair-O-Matic is gonna be able to keep everybody else alive. And it's now just a conversation of what you want to do to disrupt your opponent. I believe this is an Atlas drop right here. Oh, and I hear the imps going. They dropped out on some other area. Oh, and there is the pig on the Atlas, and the Weaver almost gets the kill. Good little drops of the sky mines, and fun little fact, the sky mines also provide vision. So, unless Highdra destroys it, there will be vision on the high ground, at least for a little bit. Good Atlas hits onto the Shroud Stone. The AoE and DPS damage over time, will be quite powerful. And more sky mines getting dropped down. Now the would-be 5th, or Hydra's gonna get attacked, and the imps are gonna be sacrificed for nothing. They managed to get away quite perfectly, honestly. And that is in part of the power of the Sentinel, to just move outside and not have to worry about it that much. The Atlas now getting moved here, hitting the health camp. Has to be careful here. He could lose the Atlas to health camp. You do not want to see that happening. Having to face 2 fights at the same time. One for the heal camp, one for the main army. And he'll lose the Atlas just because he couldn't kill the heal camp quickly enough. It's a big loss at this moment when you're really just wanting to use those Atlases to micro out and get the kill on them. Here, I hear the imps going absolutely hog wild here. More Atlases drops. Getting good kills on this and good hits overall. The Atlas then, it will get pulled by the Weaver, I would imagine, in just a few seconds. Hellborn's also now out into the field. There is the Atlas pull, and it'll get absolutely destroyed the moment that it gets pulled up there. No evacs to try and micro them out. So, the big fight happening now. Here for the side of Mixu. This could be decisive. If he remains alive, he's gonna deny one base, but there are still more bases somewhat hidden for the side of Highdra, but all of those imps now getting destroyed. And it's very interesting to see the Venerancy doing its work here with the Exos. They are more than able to snipe out the Hellborns. A bunch of imps now pushing forward and trying to get kills here. They will get the kills, and the Exos are trying their darndest to survive here against Weavers, against Hellborns, against all of those. And oh, they a couple of them do die. There is a hero Exo here at level 3, just doing the best that he could, but he'll unfortunately fall to battle as well. In the meantime, we can see that Mixu has found the base up here up north, and he's gonna try to deny it slowly, but deny it nonetheless. And for his part, Mixu is up on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases, while his opponent is sitting in 4, and well, he'll lose 1 in a moment. Oh, it was a good attempt, and the final imp will do it. So the play in the cards now for Mixu is to go through the resource camps, rebuild his army, and keep denying expansions for the side of Highdra. Eventually, the war of attrition will fall in favor of Mixu. He has more bases, he has greater access to the map, and with that he'll be able to push deeper and deeper into his opponent every single time. But he needs to be able to deny things, and an Atlas here to destroy the Shroud Stone is a good beginning. He wants to try and cut the reinforcements off beat here. There goes the imps once again, but they don't get anything. The speed here from the Sentinels doing work. They're gonna catch the Weaver and kill it. But now more imps are being thrown out. Only the Lancers suffer the damage, not the Exos. And GG out. It is Mixu winning game number 1 of this series. So congratulations, Mixu. He is up 1 game now. Highdra has given us the next lobby code, and we're gonna see where we're gonna end up for game number 2. Highdra is taking us to Secluded Grove. So we're gonna be going to Secluded Grove for a second game. Perhaps this is one where Highdra feels like he has a winning strategy, something that can beat Mixu. Mixu is probably feeling pretty good about himself right now. He knows that he's gonna have an advantage going in. It is a best of 5, so he needs more than to win 2 games back to back. He needs to put the pressure on his opponent. And we're now waiting Mixu, and we'll see what results come of it. Mixu taking a short little break, which he is allowed to. Players have 3 minutes in between games in the same series if they want to clear their mind, think about what they need to do next. Of course, Mixu's up 1 in the series, but you still need to think about what you'll do in Secluded. What kind of ideas could you have here as the Vanguard player? He had quite a dominating streak on Broken Crown. He was able to sustain quite a bit there, push himself forward. But now we'll have to see what he can do in Secluded Grove, how he'll be able to materialize a win here as well, get himself up 2-0 over Highdra, or at the same time Highdra could have a well-prepared strategy for Secluded Grove. It could lead us towards a game 3 with even score at it, a 1-1. Yep. So in we go for game number 2. And it is going to be once again Highdra on the bottom left, playing as Infernals. It is his map pick of the day. And on the top right, playing Vanguard, it's Mixu, the Finnish player who beat Probe to get here, who lost in round number 1 against Highdra, and is now up 1 on this series. And we'll see if he can get it to map number 3 with a 2 map advantage, or if he'll have to face a 1-1 Highdra. As we head into Secluded Grove, there are many opportunities here for our Infernal players with their Doombringer plays to get around the center of the map, deal damage to the main as well as the 3rd expansion, or deal damage to the natural expansion that many players have, gaining now the 20 Luminite from the little flowers that spawn around the map. very good reason to go and check as much as possible. And immediately, it is a shrine to expand on the side of Highdra. He is opening with just a single conclave to get some guns out and going, while on the other side, Mixu decides to do the same. He'll fully expand before constructing any other units or any other buildings. Both players want to play this as a very strong macro match, trying to get as much of their economic engine going as possible, build up a good advantage over their opponent, and go there. Go and face the inevitable battle that will approach. So a couple of guns on the side of Highdra to get started on the creeping for the speed camp. One of the closer speed camps that Highdra has, and the possibility to get not only some fiends but also much needed luminite early on the game. An item vault is just starting for him, so he knows, Mixu knows, that he has a bit of time to get his Marax and a mech bay. So once again, we're gonna see Mixu go for this hedgehog opening with a double mech bay to start producing hedgehogs left and right and use those to attack. Obviously, hedgehogs are somewhat dangerous, and for fiends, they can indeed surround a hedgehog because they are 7 speed against a hedgehog's 6.8. So you're not completely safe against fiends with your hedgehogs. But we can see the production is starting now. A sentry post going down too on the front of the base to protect against any possible aggression that will be coming later. Of course, the biggest worry for the Vanguard player, for Mixu, will be gun drops within the middle of the game. Depending on how strong they are, they could be very powerful and spell disaster for this particular opening. But you obviously have the hedgehogs. You only need to put a couple on your Ethereum line, a couple on your Luminite line, and you'll be good enough to destroy the Doomringers as they come. The Paramedic is gonna help out on the hedgehogs as well as the scout to keep it alive. And then now into the map with those hedgehogs. They will get spotted. And Mixu definitely knows that there are forces here hiding away. Guns, they're gonna get sniped out little by little, but the problem is that the hedgehogs are very low health. They could very much die. Remember, it is 7 versus 6.8 speed. A micro is very much needed. One of them goes down. The second one will go down as well. So 2 hedgehogs lost at the cost of just a couple of fiends. Not really that much. And that'll set back Mixu a little bit when it comes to making sure that he has a strong enough group of hedgehogs to disrupt anything that Highdra wants to send his way. Even if he's going into the third, so is his opponent, who has already completed the third, in fact. And now the hedgehog mass that Mixu has is not that scary. It is a little bit scary against the guns, but once they get their first volley off, you have to understand that the speed is just not there to do it. And there is, of course, an upgrade for more range, and that can be highly beneficial, but with the Infest also dealing damage, now that a Paramedic is going to have his job cut out for him, as he's having to heal up all of these hedgehogs. We have then the Conclaves, the third expansion, Brute splitting to go into the speed camp, but just wanting to give speed to the gods, to the fiends. What could be the play here? The mass of hedgehogs is now going to grab a little bit of extra Ethereum from the health camp here Finished out their volleys, and now they can heal up. The third is up with a couple of barracks in there. And here is the drop from the guns. And now they're gonna attack again, and you can see that Doombringer, how low it gets when it's hit by a deployed hedgehog. If Mixu is able to get the Doombringer off guard, to cut him off guard with those deployed hedgehogs, it will be game over for it. But at the time, it might be a little scary. Hedgehog is there and will set up on the normal escape path of these Doombringer, but of course the Doombringer can also go the other way. I mean, problem is, if Highdra doesn't see this, oh, it's going to survive, but very close to death. It could have been very, very bad for Highdra there if there were more hedgehogs deployed and able to actually attack it. Or on this side, we can see that Highdra is rapidly expanding. He has his 4th base up, as opposed to Mixu's 3 base at the moment. He's also mining more and more Therium. I do wonder if the hedgehogs already have. They are probably in the process of unlocking transonic missiles, which give them an extra weapon range, the transonic boosters, which gives extra weapon range not only in the mobile version but also in the deployed one, which can be quite scary for many of these units. An opportunity here to deploy some and try to clean out the Doombringers once and for all. You can see a couple of them being deployed back here to protect against those Doombringer drops. And a big fight about to happen here. Hedgehogs shooting, and they get the Doombringer out. So Doombringer is no longer in play. There will need to be a new one made. But now the question is, what can your hedgehogs do? A good little hill camp is gonna be nice here. A little Bob chopped down the trees, opening up Hydra's 4th. So he could be at risk of getting attacked here. Oh, the Bob gets eliminated. But the hedgehogs are right here and ready for this fight. They will kill one of the Shroud Stones before it could be cancelled. Make that 2. And now they pull back. They did their aggression. They caused some economic damage. And you can see that Mixu is going for the middle base as well. And although the resources of the middle base are plenty, you do have to acknowledge that you need to fully mine it to be able to claim that you're getting a full benefit from it. And at the moment, the full mining is waiting. It does seem like Mixu wants to avoid Highdra realizing that there is this middle base here. Without Magmadons in the field, it's going to be much easier for Mixu to engage with a big mass of units. And once again, the hedgehogs coming through, they're destroying the Shroud Stones. They do such a good job of this. They'll definitely start hitting the Luminite line quite hard. And Hellborns trying to move in on here with Atlases there for the defense. In comes a big fight, double kill on the Gaunt's. That's a beautiful hit to push the army of Highdra back. It'll require a lot of work here, and the hedgehogs eat the brunt of the Hellborn's damage. That's not really what you want to see happening, because those Hellborns can deal so much damage. A couple of sentry posts might be going up here in just a moment to create some repairmatics, keep everybody alive automatically as much as possible. And the evacs will now do its job of dropping the Atlases forward and microing them back. In comes the Atlases, good shots going through, avoiding as much as possible the hits from the Hellborns. That Atlas shot is not particularly good. It opened the door to see the main base. So this could be a little bit problematic. Those Atlases are doing a fine job of keeping the line though. More Atlas drops here to destroy the Shroudstone. Oh, and in goes the Hellborns. Attacking through it. Atlas micros back. Very excellent shot. And now just Mixu slowly carving his way into his opponents. The Hellborns could have good shots here if he's not careful though. Couple of Hellborns attacking the Vulcan right in that area, opening up the space once again here for his Atlases and other units. One of the Atlases does go down. But now we're in... Now Highdra is in a bit of trouble. He needs to deny this massive base. It is producing so many resources. Look at this. 3 mech base all going on at the same time. The upgrades are fully walking through it. Biokinetics lab is also being produced. I would imagine exos and medtechs are going to be some of the things that are going to be pumping up here. And expansion on this side is exactly what Highdra wants to be able to deny on this way. As the Bobs are making their way through, and now the upgrade, the Arc Plasma upgrade for the Atlases is fully online. It will deal damage over time. You can see all of the evacs that are grabbing and moving the Atlases. This is absolutely insane to see 6 Atlases all in 2 evacs just getting moved around to hit more and more opponents. But God, that's crazy. One of them did die. And there are a couple of shadow flyers out there. Thankfully, the sky mines should be able to protect our good friend here, Mixu. The base advantage is squarely on Mixu's side for now, but it could change in a moment. We'll have to see what happens, and one of the Sentinels gets thrown down here. It won't be able to sustain itself for much longer. The Vulcans, they will not get the kill, or they will. One will die, but the other one is staying alive sufficiently enough that perhaps the Atlas can finish the job. And on the other side, there is a big drop of Atlases that gets the kill on the third. Oh, but they're coming back with a Shadow Flyer escort, essentially. And they will get the kill. He drops the Atlases before they died. But one of them will get killed before it. There is a whole line of Atlases now on this side that are just waiting for the opportunity to fire, and they'll get it. Magmadons are pushing forward as well. Hellborns are throwing as much as they can against them. And you can see now the Hellborn slowly moving up. Those Atlases are not deployed at the moment. They're not firing their strongest shot. They will get one of the Hellborns killed. And now it's time for Mixu to decide how he wants to engage this fight. He doesn't have a lot of good things to fight with. He has a couple of Hedgehogs, a number of Atlases, but those Atlases are going to start to go down quite a lot as the Shadow Flyers get the kill with, I believe it was 1 or at least 1, perhaps 2 Atlases on board. Which makes this a very, very difficult fight now for Mixu, who's having to remake his entire base here again. He's going to be trying to deny... Sorry. He's going to try to deny another one of the expansions for the set of Highdra, but as this game continues forward, you can see no more Luminite here. Luminite is going to start to be expended here as well, I would imagine. And so will this area eventually. The Therium is running down, and the middle base is great, but if you're not able to use it to win the game outright, what kind of potential can you look for as you continue to fight here? The Atlases will keep the Hellborns at bay, but this is looking more and more like we'll be going into a 1-1 game 3. Mixu is on a very scary position. He has to try to keep as many units alive. His resources are going to be quickly dwindling as he continues on, even with the double base in the middle. He is having to face a massive Shroudstone and Imp growth here. It is a Shroudstone manifestation as well. Same thing on the lower side. It is just Hydra taking all of that, and there are still a couple of Luminites for the side of Hydra that he has in mind. He even has a third that he's not fully mining yet. And a dragon now for the side of Hydra. This could be very bad. Fully healed up the dragon with the white health. And all of those atlases are all fine and dandy, but if they're having to move out, if they are possibly going to die, it's not as good as it looks. If you're having to do that, the hedgehogs deploy dudes to keep the dragon, the flay dragon away. But now this is a big fight. If the middle base goes out, it could spell disaster for Mixu, who's now trying with everything he has, with the bombs, with the atlases, with the hedgehogs. He's doing everything he can to keep this base. He does get the Flay Dragon, and the Arc Plasma upgrade is doing its job against the Fiends, doing that damage over time. And he will keep the base in the middle, but it's so difficult to defend at this point. And again, look at the workers here. The Therium is barely getting mined. The Therium here is also having a hard time. The only main Therium that Mixu has is the one on that fourth base, the ones on this side, but these are more and more difficult to protect every single time. The Atlases are trying to siege down the Shroudstones over on this side, but they're still going fine here. You can see that Hydra is going to be sending his units over to keep that side defended, but it might be trading in for a fourth. It is now a little bit of playtime for both as we are reaching closer and closer to the 20-minute mark. This is the time where one of the players needs to get something ahead of the other to finally continue to work through this way. And it seems like one of the things that is going to be happening is Mixu is going to be able to take that top base and perhaps the bottom base. There is going to be a big fight here for it, I would imagine, as Hydra also denies the fourth base mining a little bit. It's becoming harder and harder to keep track of all of the action around the map because both players have everything scattered around and just trying to keep each other in check. We see two bases, one for Mix and one for Hydra. They are both going to be mining that Luminite. Eventually one of them is going to try to attack the other, but it is a high-end fight between these two players, and fortunately we're going to have to see a little bit more of a divided force. The Hedgehogs are trying to get against the Brutes, but the Fiends are going to be able to get good hits here, as well as the Atlas going down for this side, and now an engagement with the Sentinels up on top. The Repairomatic is trying to do work here, and it's going to be Hydra who GG's out. He was not able to break through Mixu's middle base, and that'll give Mixu the second map of the series, going up 2 now. Very, very nice. We'll see where we go for map number 3, but map number 2 on Secluded Grove, very powerful stance by Mixu. He was able to transition from that early Lancer. Yeah, Mixu is trying to do the full lower bracket run. Started out from round number 1 losing, now wants to get through it all and go back to the grand finals, where he believes himself to be destined for. So we're gonna go to map number 3, which is Unbroken Crown. So Hydra feels like he can definitely get a Broken Crown off, which I do believe he could absolutely do it. So we're gonna wait for Mixu here and the rest of our casters, which of course I'm not a professional caster, but if you want to watch professional casters, there are a bunch of people out there that you can watch. Behemoth probably among the top ones. He is casting this series as well, and he's going to be casting the grand finals. So you should definitely check out all of the wonderful people that are putting their time to cast the Alpha Navigators Cup Season 0 finals. It is high time. We have Theory in the chat who's waiting for his opponent. It is going to be one of these two players. And so far, it really does feel like it might be Mixu as he goes up to, he only needs one more win to go up into the grand finals. And Highdra needs to get at least two to bring it to a game number 5. It wouldn't be unheard of if we saw Highdra get to a reverse sweep. We just saw it earlier today with Theory versus Highdra. And so we go into game number 3, potentially match point for the side of Mixu, but here on the lower left, it is going to be Highdra playing as Infernal. On the other, it is Mixu as our Vanguard player who's up 2-0, who wants to get that W today. He's been already, he redeemed himself for his round 1 loss against Highdra, and he's coming in here and he wants to get the full series win. So far, our friend Mixu has started with roughly the same type of build order, getting a barracks out, getting a biokinetics lab out, researching virulent claws, and then started to pop out, well, not virulent claws, but kinetic redirection, and then starting to pump out lancers to win that early game stage where it is particularly about the map control, it is particularly about how well you can defend against fiends and against that type of aggression, and then going over into either the hedgehogs, which obviously affords him a little bit of a better survival rate against the Doombringer drops, or he has decided in the past to go into just the natural Exo Lancer Medtech mass that you then add a couple of Vulcans to it to start to break down his opponents. So we'll see which one he chooses here. And it is going to be the Hedgehog start. So he puts down a mech bay alongside his barracks. The barracks gets sold, and that'll afford another Hedgehog, or well, a first Hedgehog to go out. 2 scouts might give the appearance that he is going for a mass scout opening, and of course the scouts are particularly good at getting rid of the gaunts. Good little micro by the side of Highdra to ensure that he remains in a good position here. Now going and grabbing the little health globules so that'll keep his scouts alive. Now the Hedgehog is out into the field. For those who don't know, the Hedgehog deals 10 damage. It has a range of 5, and you can get extra range if you get an upgrade as well. So now on for the resource camps. Denying Highdra those little fiends as well as the little piles of luminite that they drop. But Highdra seems quite content with that, as he will be going up another base at the same time. And now 2 hedgehogs out into the field with 2 scouts, one of them very low health though. And I wonder what Highdra is thinking at the moment, what he believes his opponent might be doing. As the hedgehog barely squishes by, unseen by the gaunts. And now the full attack with the hedgehogs. And the scouts goes through the main expansion. So this will be the chance for Highdra to try to understand a little bit better what his opponent might be doing. The hedgehogs now are trying to clean out the last remaining resource camp. Well, the one remaining on his opponent's side. Again, the 9 fiends, the 9 resources. They do get, Highdra does get the vision camp up north, but it is simple enough for Mixu to deny it, as he can just destroy it if he wants to, but it doesn't seem like he wants to just yet. He will instead go to the heal camp, getting a little bit more Therium, potentially to improve, to upgrade one of his command posts into a central command, and then allow him to improve all of these habitats into solar habitats, or get some more upgrades, all good things that open up with your tier 2 building. The final camp now for resources is going to get grabbed, as Highdra has taken both of the speed camps as well as both of the vision camps here. So Highdra, despite not having a lot of resources, will have to decide what he wants to do. He has taken both of the vision camps. He knows that there is a mass of hedgehogs coming. Will he be able to attack it so far? In goes the hedgehogs. They will get caught off. They are in between a hard place and death of the cons. It will be Mixu using one ability to try and get through it, but it will get surrounded anyway. And so even if the hedgehog is going to kill a couple of units, all 4 hedgehogs will end up dying. What a surround, what a great strategic tactical play by Highdra. He denies 4 hedgehogs, which had already been well protected. And now, well, now Highdra has a little bit more room to breathe. He doesn't have to worry about the hedgehog so much. There are more coming, of course. The mech bays are going to start to work non-stop from now until the future, but Highdra has good vision. He knows his opponent is currently down in terms of the capability of defenses that he has. He could even be thinking about a Doombringer drop, quite honestly, as there are not a lot of hedgehogs going through it. A sentry post is going down now, which will support a defense here with a rampart as well to give it shields should it be needed. But on this side, look at this army. Even with 4 hedgehogs, you're not really going to be able to thin it out. But the Gaunt's, they're caught off guard. 2 of them will die before any of the units for the side of Mixu get caught on. And the Fiend is going to get a nice round on the Lancers, get an extra Fiend for their efforts. And now the Repairmatic has a job to do. He has to repair all of those units back up. This could be a very good chance for Highdra. Get the resource camp in the middle. That is going to bring you more Fiends, more resources. Probably go for an expand. And we can see the Weavers now out into the field. They are also going to be critical here. Not only against the Hedgehogs, but against this particular bad boys, the Atlases. So the Atlases, they can get pulled by the Weaver. And at the moment, there is a hangar bay, but no evac so far. So until there is an evac, those little lashes that the Weavers can do, they'll be deadly. And you can see they're spotted. The Hedgehogs, they're going to get attacked once again. And the Fiends, they are entirely fine to just get rid of if you can. If it means you get a kill on a Hedgehog, they are more than well worth doing so. And now with imps, oh, this is going to be a massive push. It is going to constitute the bulk of the army from Highdra, as well as the imps who are going to be flaming on. And the Atlases might break through on this one. If the Atlases get picked up ahead of time, oh, this could be very bad. A couple of Fiends check first. Now the imps, they'll become inflamed. In just a second they get picked up, but if they are picked up, they're not shooting, and so the imps have free reign to now go and explode. The Weavers are attacking. Shield goes down onto the defensive structures, but it's not going to be enough, and now Mixu has to perfectly micro the Atlases here to be able to defend against this. The Weavers are around, and they can pull the Atlases if he's not careful. He has a second evac, so he has enough to keep his Atlases alive by picking them up, but also this is a huge attack on the expansion, and again, the Weavers deal percentage damage. All of these structures are getting hit quite hard, honestly, and this expansion is gonna go down. I mean, he has a third, but at this point, it really does seem like Highdra is gonna get one map in on this best of 5 series at the very least. A bunch of Weavers walking through the base, and the Atlases, surely they are perfect, but this little pool and making sure that all of them die, it is a GG by Mixu. And so it'll be a 1-2 series with Highdra taking the result here. So it's gonna be for the next one, Mixu is gonna be hosting with Highdra on the other side. There we go. So we have Mixu with 2. Again, we're seeing this. Oh, this could be very, very scary for the side of Mixu. We saw a reverse sweep already. We could see another one. So he has to be careful. Mixu, the lone Vanguard player in the bracket that could still win this. And thank you, Pori. I just saw your message. Thank you so much for updating Wikipedia. That's all awesome. And we'll see now what we can get for game number 4. The players are gonna take a quick 2-minute break, and I think that's a good idea because I'm gonna be running ads for 3 minutes so that you don't get ads during the game. So go ahead, stretch your legs, do all of the things that you want to do, folks, as we're gonna be heading into map number 4 in just a couple of minutes. But first, we're gonna run some ads so you don't get them in the middle of the game. If you don't want to see the ads right now, you can of course subscribe. That goes to support me and all of the content that I make, essentially. So I greatly appreciate any and all support that you want to give. So we'll be waiting a couple of minutes for the ads as well as our players to be ready. In the meantime, I'm gonna take a quick short break too. So see you all in just a couple of minutes. All right, and we are back and starting game number 4. It is going to be Mixu going into the bottom left as the Vanguard. This is, again, match point for him. And then on the other side, we have Highdra going in on the top right as the Infernal player. He just won 1 game. He'll definitely want to pick a good result here. Let me fix the score right there. There we go. Now it should be good. There we go. Mixu on match point against Highdra. Highdra wants to tie the series up 2-2. So we'll see if he's able to do that. Going with expansion first again. Well, Conclave into an expansion. It seems like Mixu is going to be opening with dogs. Getting the biokinetics lab and getting some scouts out into the field. So to answer your question, Sir Rep, I'm not too worried about it. Primarily because it is such a long code that if somebody wanted to type all of that out, by the time they typed it all out, they'll probably, they'll probably not be able to get into the game. And the players, primarily the players, I don't care so much if there are extra observers. I just care that the players are in a good place. They're in their respective spots. So then, speed camp for the side of Highdra. He's going to be looking to pick up a couple of fiends very early on. And we can see that the dogs are starting to go out here. Scouting, harassing, just being a massive annoyance. And we'll see, with both guns dead and the speed camp denied, this could be a quick game if those scouts get the Beryllium Claws and they are able to maximize their potential here. More scouts now. Getting up here, and because of the expansion, this little Shroudstone is probably going to be denied. It is cancelled, and the imp that was constructing it is also killed. This could end up being a very, very scary attack. Out it goes. And now back here. With even more scouts being pumped out by that single base. It is, of course, a potential to switch over to Lancers, to Hedgehogs, to a number of other units that you could do here. The Repair-O-Matic is going to do a great job of keeping those scouts alive, and Highdra has sustained a little bit of damage, but it's also going to be able to kind of recuperate, build things back up again, and it seems like Mixu is happy to let him, just so that he can get the rest of the resource camps that are outside on the map, as well as the experience that is associated with it. You can see that some of these units are very close to their next level, so you can expect a few more resource camps, a few more little creeps going around, and that'll be more than enough for him to get his scouts up to a good level. Opens the Therium Vein on the upper 4th base, and will now go for the Vision Camp, I would imagine. Right there. Doombringer drop coming at the 4-minute mark as well. How well prepared is Mixu for that? And I think the answer is not very. Oh, he will actually do an imp. So he will take the center base first and use that as a starting off point for his expansion economically, while the Doombringer continues on his travel to attack now the 3rd for the side of Mixu. In come the guns. They will be infested, but not straight up killed yet. And Hedgehogs are now out into the field to try and get a kill. Oh, it gets denied. The Hedgehog is very low health. He's losing 1% of its health every second. It will need repairs by the bombs. But will that be enough? The guns are still attacking here. The overcharge is powerful enough to give them what they need. And now it switches over to the Therium at the top of the base. Getting the kill of... Whoa! Did a shrine? Did one of the guns just throw a shrine? What a visual bug, eh? So indeed, the drop is not going to be as successful. A lot of these buildings, regional chamber attack, indeed. And now the guns are doing great work here, as well as the fiends. But it will pull back, and I'll be sent back home, I believe, to this one, yeah. And now, long distance mining of Therium. Not a lot of units yet, but more guns are coming here for the next drop. And the shrine here in the middle of the base, undetected by Mixu, is gonna be growing and growing. So now the heal camp will be taken by Mixu. Add a couple more Therium, add a little bit of health to your aggression. But other than that, he's not feeling particularly well, I would imagine. Even more so if you realize that there is indeed a base in the middle of the map. You would consider these 2 bases, but it's actually more like 4. And most interestingly, it's a lot of Therium that is being mined right now for the side of Highdra. He wants to get as much Therium as possible. And those gun drops are gonna make sure that he has the opportunity to get them. The hedgehogs can deploy and deny quite a bit of this, but... Oh, here comes the deploy with the hedgehog. Deals a good amount of damage, but it's not enough to deter the Doombringer to come back. Here comes another hedgehogs. It might be just too few units and the dogs are not powerful enough for it. Deploys is not gonna come in quick enough before the teleport goes out. So now those hedgehogs don't have a target to aim for, unfortunately. And now back again with the weavers. And we saw how powerful weavers were in the previous map. So can they repeat their quality here? Last time around we saw Mixu being able to take that middle base and make work of it to deny his opponent the ability to expand, to outproduce, attack. And we'll have to see with two weavers now loaded into the Doombringer. They're making their slow way through. On the other side, Mixu trying to scout, trying to figure out what his opponent is doing. He will catch the little celebration here, the carnival of the weavers, that is just going the other way, but he actually doesn't follow on through. He won't see the weavers that are going there. The weavers and Doombringers and everything are coming back, and they are trying to return to deny this. Again, not cut-throughs, no cut-throughs of any kind here for the middle. So Mixu is none the wiser about the fact that there is a whole base right here, a whole shrine hidden away and ready to strike. In comes the evac, and the evac might be the thing that spots it, quite honestly. It will be the thing that spots it right here. If that evac is full of mobs, however, no, it's full of exos and lancers. They will indeed deny it, but here are the weavers attacking the core production base of Mixu. They're going to be hitting the barracks. And again, you have to remember that the weavers do percentage damage, even to buildings, I believe, which means that they are dealing a ton of damage to all of these buildings over time. However, there is an army here with a number of bombs that could prove fatal if not handled correctly. 150 resources. He just absolutely canceled his own barracks, salvaged it, but the weavers are dealing so much damage. 5% of the buildings. Thank you so much. So it is a big attack happening. The paramedic is trying to keep the barracks alive, but the number of fiends, the number of weavers, this is one of those armies that becomes harder and harder to destroy the more you are facing your opponent. Oh, the Atlas almost gets a shot off, but the problem is that it might not. A good shot against the fiends will give him a little bit more time, and pull the Atlases, pulled again, and that's it. That's the Atlas over. That's not what you want to see happening. Those lashes that deal 20% of damage, they are absolutely scary against units like Atlases. They deal so much damage to them. And then you have to remember that the 10% of damage for the Weavers on those Atlases is massive. The evacs are trying to go around, pull on the Vulcan. The Vulcan gets a shield up going for him, but once that shield up runs out, he will need to pull it back somehow to keep it alive. The Weavers are target focusing the Vulcan though, instead of trying to target anything else while they're at it. But man, this is a big army that is doing its own thing, and he doesn't even have to worry about it that much. Unfortunately, there are a number of imps here that could be creating another unit and another building, another expansion, but they're not at this time. It seems like Highdra wants to bring us to a map 5 here with a bunch of weavers and just pulling all of the units back. You can see how the evac has to essentially be there to grab it the moment it gets pulled away, and it's gonna be GG. We are going to a game number 5 here for the lower finals. Holy hell. So much carnage. And we are on a game number 5 once again. Go ahead and join it. It is gonna be Mixu hosting. He's gonna be taking us to Broken Crown. So we're in on Broken Crown once more. What a finals, eh? We had a 3-2 on the upper finals. We're gonna have another 3-2 on the lower finals once again. And just how the upper finals were Broken Crown into Jagged Maw, the lower finals are gonna be Broken Crown into Secluded Grove. So we have a fantastic series here going. Thank you so much, everybody, for following. Sorry if I don't interact too much with chat during the matches themselves. Just focusing on trying not to be a shitcaster. But we're heading into map number 5. Broken Crown versus Mixu and Highdra. We have on the lower left side, Mixu. He was up 2 games at the start of this series. He was feeling quite good about himself. He was probably going to the grand finals, and now he's facing a potential reverse sweep. While on the other side, his opponent, Highdra. He's up here with the Infernals. Highdra beat Mixu on round number 1 of this tournament this weekend. Apologies. And wants to do it again. Mixu wanted to reverse that, but it seems like Highdra is like, no, I will win. I will win today. And so we start, and this is a bad start for Mixu already. One of his scouts is gonna get snatched up in between the Conclave and the Shrine and will get destroyed. And on the other, let's see what Mixu decides to do with his bombs. Venturing forth, going for the expansion first. Both players starting out with the same general strategy. We're gonna go to our expansion first, with the Conclave for protection on the side of Highdra, and on the other side, relying on the Bob Overcharge to make sure to stay alive for any early aggression. Mixu has been going strong on this opening with maybe a barracks, maybe 2. Get a Biokinetics Lab, get a Verlium Claws upgrade, go with the dogs for a little while, and then switch over to the Hedgehogs. Though for Broken Crown, we're gonna see probably going straight up into the Hedgehogs. Yes, the replays for day 1 are up already on Liquipedia, and the ones for day 2 today will also be up on Liquipedia as soon as the players hand it over. Well, actually, I probably have them in my own folder, so I'll probably upload them right away. But you can see the ones for yesterday already, and I'll have the ones for today right after the grand finals. So on he goes to barracks to start putting out potentially Lancers, I would think. And for his side, getting the guns going for the expansion. One of the little fiends is going to go and scout, and he's going to see the double bases, the Biokinetics Lab. He's probably going to be thinking, hey, he's going to be going either Lancers or Scouts, or there is a good chance of a Mech Lab coming up eventually. But with 2 barracks, you're somewhat committing to going with Lancers as opposed to Hedgehogs, I would imagine, since if you were going full Hedgehogs, you wouldn't have a Biokinetics Lab, and you would most likely be salvaging your older barracks first. We'll try and get that. Good little hits on the Fiend, but the Fiend, even at 2 health, it still proves to be quite an annoyance, but it'll die to the next hit of whatever unit hits it, indeed. And now we go into the Vision Camp to check on this whole area. I have vision there, already has vision over here. And here comes the cut through and the expansion for the side of Highdra. And we'll see what else gets cooked up here. Another speed camp is gonna go down. More fiends to throw into the grinder for later. And now the Lancers for the side of Mixu are gonna take onto the middle of the map, and they're gonna try to go for this resource camp, but they're gonna meet the army of Highdra. They could potentially deny the resource cap, and they will. Great play by Mixu, denying the resource camp, and of course the fiend that goes alongside it. But the Shroud Stones are up on the third base. That will not be denied or damaged in any way. But at least Mixu must be feeling a little bit better about himself. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of vision on the rest of the map. There are the vision camps that have been taken by Highdra. So he has to just try to manage in whatever way he can here. Get the health camps, deny as much as possible. And we'll see how that turns out. So both players now on 3 bases. Still making barracks for Mixu. It seems like he's going to go on a core of Exos, Lancers, and potentially a good number of medtechs, if I had to guess. 2 Shroudstone Towers fully defending this base. And because he has the health camp, he feels quite good about taking a bit of damage here. It is potentially healable on this side. The Doombringer advances, but all of the Lancers are just gonna go back, heal up when they have to. Get a good kill on a Gaunt there, though. And good microing the damage units back. Oh, getting those kills on the Gaunts. Every single Gaunt that he's able to kill here is one Gaunt that is not gonna be going to his base in just a moment, right? So getting more and more Lancers now to be there. He will need something to protect his third and main as well. It seems like he's just now thinking about doing something like that. A couple of units. The Bob got overcharged, just making a habitat. Over here, the Doombringer is kind of dancing back and forth. He doesn't quite know what he wants to do, and this aggression could be really bad. It gets the kill on the meat farm without the cancellation and the Shroudstone as well. This could be very bad for Highdra. This is a good denial on the expansion. Lancers are pretty good. Even if one of them dies, they're feeling quite well. And the Shroudstone manifestation goes down. It is fully surrounded by Lancers, so it will be destroyed. And now the Doombringer and the Gaunts are the only thing here protecting it. And this is great for Mixu. It means that he's not having to handle a drop on his side. A Brood went up, but it'll get split. Not manually, so those little fiends don't have as much health as they usually would. And now the Gaunts are a little bit more unprotected. Only 2 roots there to keep things stable. And now it is Highdra on high intense time. He has to think about how he can resolve this. The Lancers are going back and forth to heal. So every 30 seconds you have a new wave of Lancers that you thought you might have defeated. But in actuality, they've been getting healed up. A Weaver is now out on the field. And it'll try to snatch up and get a lash off. But right at the edge of the area, it's not that easy to do it. The expansion does go down, and this is now Mixu on 4 bases, mind you. He has expanded into the middle of the map, and this is now the engagement that Highdra has to win. The Weaver gets picked up by the Doombringer to keep alive, to lower the tempo. But you know what Mixu is saying? Mixu is saying, okay, I'll go to the other side. I'll grab the third. The imps are pushing forward, but I don't believe they have flamed yet. So the Lancers are feeling quite good about it. A bunch of Shroudstones are going down to try and keep the imps alive for as long as possible. The one Shroudstone that was up is now destroyed. The Doombringer dies as well. That means the Weaver is completely isolated. The Weaver will most likely die, and now the Gaunts are going to be dying too. An infest is going to fall upon a number of the units, but at this point, it is very much over for Highdra unless he can find something here to keep him alive. The Fellhogs are going to start to pop, but nothing will do it. It is GG. It is Mixu. Oh, Mixu denying the reverse sweep.